Okay, if you guys have been watching this stream and my mic was muted, I'm sorry. Okay, but hopefully whoever joins now can hear me now. Okay, but yeah, again, I'm going over a social media question that people I asked to provide on my Facebook. Okay, so Alex asked, shouldn't exciting violence do it be treated the same way as screaming fire in a crowded theater when there's none? And I think when he says exciting violence through it, as in like through social media, be treated. That's more of a philosophical question. Of course, I do want to answer that because I do have my opinions on this. I think that uh, the problem with social media right now is that it's so large and vast. It's really impossible for any regulating bodies to to be able to supervise it. Uh, Everything's going to be based on reports or maybe uh, analytics that recorded people's posts. So, like, of course, if, like, I'll give you an example. I heard of a child in college who made a joke or whatever about shooting up the school, and the fact that they did that, they were actually reported and arrested and expelled from school and everything like that. And that was a post that they put on social media. But someone other than the people controlling the social media got wind of it. Maybe it got shared and someone screenshot it or whatever, right? So the the mentality I'm bringing up is that maybe Alex is correct, but in reality, if there's no true crime, then it depends on the jurisdiction and the people that are actually witnessing it or maybe in danger of it, right? So, like I said, when I'm pretty sure when that child made a joke about shooting up the school, whatever, I'm pretty sure the school was the one who got involved, right? But if the school had no idea, did not know about it, didn't hear about it, then there's a chance that nothing would have happened. Well, of course, threatening violence with a gun might catch the attention of anybody, but I'm pretty sure the school is the one who addressed that, right? So it really depends. I think if there is a direct target, right? So if someone says, "I'm gonna, I'm," uh, I think we all should get guns and fight a war. You're not really targeting anyone, right? But if you say something like, I think we should all get guns and go to this church and shoot it up, that's a target, right? So then, of course, that can create or that can lead to people screenshotting and reporting it and sending it to the police, whatever, and that will, of course, lead to hopefully some sort of legal action, right? Uh, but I think it depends on the way the violence is being uh, promoted. Whether there's a target, what kind of violence it is. So I think I think it is treated that way in certain instances, but normally it's not like Facebook or TikTok or whatever taking any action. From my perspective, Facebook would probably more than likely just block or delete your post, maybe delete your account. But I don't know if they'll go as far as to like, hey, this person is talking about shooting up a school. We're gonna go ahead and take this data and send it directly to the authorities and then have them deal with it, right? Let's pretend. I mean, let's pretend. Let's put it this way. Let's say someone has no friends, meaning no followers, no Facebook followers, they have no audience, right? There's no one looking at their Facebook at all. Like, it's literally like the whole story of the dropping. If a tree were to fall in the forest and no one's in the forest, would it make a sound, right? So let's pretend this person has a Facebook, but has absolutely no followers, no friends, no one's paying attention to them, not their parents, nobody. They're not connected to anybody, and they put, "I'm going to shoot up I'm going to shoot up my high school." If no one sees it, if no one sees, when I say no one, I'm talking about no friends, nobody, no human sees it, right? I don't think that if Facebook, the algorithms and the robots saw that post, I don't think they're going to take that post and record it or screenshot it and send it to the school. I don't think that's going to happen, right? Now, I might be wrong. Maybe Zuckerberg and all the other super geniuses that runs these social media platforms has a process for that. Maybe they do have a department for that. If the Department of public safety or whatever within Facebook, right? Maybe, but from my perspective, I don't think it would. It would be. It would create any kind of action, right? But I might be wrong. Okay, now if you're trying to inspire people, like you're saying, inciting violence, right? Inspire people, like you're trying to get into a Facebook group and you're trying to get everyone to shoot up a certain church or whatever. Um, I think it is treated the same way as screaming fire in a crowded theater, right? Because you're doing it in front of a crowd, you're doing it in front of an audience, you're doing it in front of people that can hear it and react to it, right? So I think there's a difference there, right? So maybe if you incite violence on social media, but no one is there to hear it, it doesn't do anything. But if you're doing it and people hear it, someone's going to report it anyways, right? So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, I guess we should ask, or I should ask you, what do you mean should it be treated that way? Like, do they get arrested the same way? Are the same people getting involved? That's kind of a incomplete question, I guess. So I'm going to put it in here right quick. I am trying to answer this question, and I realize there's more we need to know. Like, what do you mean by treated the same way? All right, cool. So hopefully that addresses the question. And Alex might not even know about this call, but I'm streaming on my Facebook right now. So if he's paying attention, he might be watching this video right now. Okay. All right. So Cameron Walker says, what makes this media more social than other forms of media? And I think what Cameron is asking, I don't think he's talking about Facebook in general. I think he's talking about social media. Why is social media considered social versus like mass media like TV and radio and newspaper and such, right? So I'm going to actually, there's some participants. Let me go ahead and add some people real quick. Also, you guys who are on Zoom, if you want to unmute or ask a question in the chat, please do so. I will address it, or at least give you my opinion about it, right? So feel free to unmute yourself or ask in the chat if you do have any questions or want to make a comment or whatever. Okay. So again, the question that Cameron Walker asked: what makes this media more social than other forms of media? It's a pretty simple question, I would say, or a simple answer. It's the fact that you can immediately respond to it, right? So, like when there's a TV show, and let's say it shows something that makes you want to communicate or makes you want to respond, the people on the television are not going to hear you. More than likely, it's a pre-recorded televised show, unless it's the news channel, right? But even in news, even if you try to respond, you can't really respond to them. You can call them, you can try to call them, you can try to email them, but it never would be like a real-time response, right? Whereas on social media, even though it might not be as rich as a television show, like you might be just seeing texts and photos and pre-recorded videos, when you comment or engage or like on a particular post made by an author, that author more than likely will get a notification that you responded, and therefore you respond to them, they know about it, and they can respond back. I think that's what makes it social on the most bottom basic level, right? And what I mean by that, there's more levels to, or there's more layers to why it's social, but the most bottom definition or concept as to why this is more social than radio and television and newspaper and such is the fact that you can literally communicate between the author and the reader or the consumer of the content, right? You can literally interact with each other immediately, right? Just like this call, right? This call, I'm getting people to like the post, and I got people whenever I ask, can you hear me? And people said, yeah, I hear you. That is why it makes it social, right? And if this is a private call, like let's say it's just me and whoever is on the call and we talk, it might not be considered media. It might be just a form of communication that we use to communicate with each other instead of meeting in person or instead of like being on the phone, right? But the fact that I am streaming this the fact that I'm trying to promote this to numerous channels, I'm trying to distribute it, makes it social, right? Makes it beyond just a private call. This makes it content that's being shared in hopes to um, be consumed, and of course, hopefully inspire any kind of engagement, reaction, or growth, or knowledge, or whatever, right? So I think on the most bottom level, that's what makes it social. Now, the second layer that I believe that makes it social is the fact that it's designed to be a community, right? Like when you think about radio and television and newspaper, yeah, you have subscribers, you have people who are paying for the Netflix channel, you have people who, uh, maybe they have their presets on their stereo playing a certain radio channel, but it's really a one-way communication, right? It's really signals being sent out and people just consuming it, right? Whereas in social media, they are encouraging connection. They're encouraging people to be friends with each other. They're encouraging people to follow each other. And the fact that the platform is literally managing this like a god, right? Like there's no, I mean, of course, God himself or herself is a totally different conversation, but there's no overarching, overseeing, overpowerful overlord managing what's happening with TV and radio and newspaper and their audience. It's just kind of a concept of someone sending out messages, information, and people accepting it, right? And that's kind of what happens. And based on their electronic devices and then what they're using to consume the content, they can get a little bit of data, right? Whereas social media, we're in their universe. Like right now, Mark Zuckerberg and his cronies knows that this call is happening right now. They know this. It's on record. It's being streamed. Um, they have a line of code or whatever, or data being collected and put into their hard drives, letting them know that Larry Lead Lender is doing a Zoom call and streaming on StreamYard, and he's sharing it to these 20, 30, 40 different Facebook pages. They know it, right? And they are managing it. So let's say people are responding to my stream call, they're liking it, maybe they're actually watching it. Facebook's gonna be like, okay, well, this stream call is garnishing or not garnishing, garnering watch time. So we're gonna go ahead and try to share it to more people. We're gonna go ahead and notify more people about this. We're gonna try to put in more people's newsfeed. So there's an overarching overlord controlling what's happening right now with this exact moment, this exact event, and they are manipulating it to get the most ROI out of it, right? So that in turn makes it more social, I believe, right? Because they're trying to encourage more engagement and connection, right? Whereas TV doesn't really do that. TV just kind of plays and whoever watches it watches it. Whoever doesn't watch it, right? So I mean, the TV doesn't know that no one's watching it, right? Whereas social knows if someone's watching my video and someone decides to stop watching my video, it knows exactly how long they watch. Like YouTube, if you use YouTube at all, you can actually see when people stop watching your videos. Like it actually shows you statistics. TikTok does the same thing. It says they watch for the first 30 seconds, they watch for the first minute, and they stop watching. They know when they tuned in and when they tuned out, right? So that's what makes social media more social in general. And there's a lot more to this answer, but I think those two would be enough to basically answer your question. Okay, Cameron. All right, cool. So let's see here. The next question. Jennifer asked the question. It's kind of funny. Um, she asked, "How do I make money being an influencer? And how can I be an influencer? This mortgage thing is overrated, and I'm not quite ready to sell feet pics." And I agree with her. I think that this mortgage thing is overrated. I would rather be a social media influencer than a mortgage guy. But not everyone can be an influencer because it's very difficult. That's the reason why when you become an influencer, it's so valuable. You get paid so well, right? But how do I make money being an influencer? Well, there's ways to monetize your content, right? TikTok, YouTube. Uh, I think Facebook's starting to try to do that, but for sure, TikTok and YouTube definitely pays people to be influencers, and they pay it in different ways. I'll use TikTok first as an example because I think it's simpler. If you are a celebrity or if you're followed by a lot of people, then people are going to pay to be in front of your audience. So if I had 1 million followers, people are going to pay me to wear their hat. You see what I'm saying? People are going to pay me to talk about their product, right? So that is more a direct uh, relationship, a sponsorship of some sort, where you're talking to organizations that are trying to leverage your audience and make money off of that way. So that's them writing a check to you directly because of you being a celebrity, right? Um, YouTube, you can do the same thing, but YouTube has another layer of how you can get paid, and that's through views, right? So YouTube has a monetization system where they actually pay you for the amount of views you get and for the amount of time your videos are being viewed. Okay, so depending on the category of what your content is, they also pay the the pay is also depend on that. So you might not get as much per view if you were promoting music versus if you're promoting technology, right? So let's say you are, I don't know, like a musical artist and you do musical covers, right? And let's pretend the music you're using, the music that you put out doesn't get a copyright. It doesn't get like a copyright violation or whatever they call it, right? Then any view you get paid, but maybe you get paid at most 50 cents a view, right? So you get 1 million views, you're gonna get paid $500,000, right? If you are promoting technology, or maybe I heard that actually anything related to business gets a higher dollar per view. Let's say if it's $1 a view and you get 1 million views, then you're gonna get paid a million views, $1 million for all the views because you have 1 million views, right? So it really depends on the type of content you create and how your monetization structure is. Okay. Now, another thing that's kind of interesting is that if you did put a video that was copyrighted and was owned by someone else, then they actually get paid for your view. So you don't get paid because it's not your content or not your property, it's someone else's property. But if you get 1 million views, then the owner of the copyright actually gets paid. So basically they monetize based on your content. And the trade-off is, well, you get to use their music for free, right? So to answer your question on how you can get paid, that's how I answer, right? You have to find the right platforms, and then you have to, of course, get enough views in order to justify getting paid. Another way that I've been looking into and I've been kind of doing research on was affiliates, right? So basically, you are promoting a certain product and you have a link for it, right? So if you notice on YouTube, there's a lot of people who do like how to's or unboxings or comparing like different products or whatever. Of course, they're doing it because they want to give content, information, and education, but also they have a financial purpose behind it. They're hoping that by people watching the video, they will be inspired to buy this product, and by doing that, they provide the link to the product, and if the person pays for it, they actually get a small commission for it. So I hear a lot of people make pretty good money off of affiliate sales. So they make a video to sort of let's pretend it's a book, right? Let's pretend I want to sell a book. I don't know, Gary V's jab 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 right hook, right? That's my book that I want to sell, right? And I get paid 10 cents for every sale that I make, right? So I do a review on jab 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 right hook by Gary Vaynerchuk, and then I go, if you want, you can buy the book. You can click my link below in the description, and you can buy the book, and I'll get a small commission off of that. And then people buy the book through my link because of my video, and I get paid a small commission. I don't know how much it is, but I'm saying 10 cents. And let's say I get, I don't know, 1 million sales, then I get paid $100,000 for that video through my affiliate link, right? So that's another way to make money as an influencer. Okay. Now, Jeffrey Miller asks, and how can I be an influencer? Well, unfortunately, I'm not an influencer, so I can't tell you the answer to that. I can give you my theories, but of course, I'm trying my best to do the same thing. So I actually have the same question as you do. But again, unfortunately, I'm not an influencer, at least not in my perspective. But I have theories. The number one theory I would have is you really just have to be at the right place at the right time with the right content, right? So there's people, if you see them as influencers and you see like the original videos or the original content they created that got them there, sometimes it makes you scratch your head. You're like, this person is famous because of this. It just so happened that they, at the right place at the right time, created the right video that the audience responded to. And that's really what matters, right? Not really what you think or what YouTube or what TikTok or what Facebook thinks. It matters what the audience thinks, right? So it's a lot of luck, I would say, right? Because there's probably people who create just as good content or better than the influencer, but they just didn't get picked up. They didn't go viral. They weren't in the right place at the right time, right? There's been times where I made videos way before TikTok even got invented that I felt was better than most of TikTok's content. But because I made it like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, there was no audience, there was no platform that encouraged it. So therefore, it was irrelevant. It was useless, right? But yeah, I mean, even in my own mind, I'm like, this person is viral, but his videos suck ass. My videos are way better, and they're pretty much the same but better. Doesn't matter, right? Because at that point, 5 years ago, I wasn't relevant. Whereas in this moment, in this time, in this platform, that person was relevant, and therefore they became an influencer. So that's really, I guess, the overarching answer I would give is how to become an influencer. You just got to be at the right place at the right time with the right kind of content. Um, I've actually been to a lot of conferences and masterminds where people asked, they'll ask the guy, they'll ask the person that is actually I'm trying to they'll ask the person who of course is influential or has got a lot of success, and they'll ask them, what was that one video, what's the one video that you did that changed your career, what's the one video that made you who you are, right? And the way a lot of them respond, the way I remember this particular person responded, he was like, there wasn't one video. It's not like I got lucky. It's not like I actually made a video and it went viral and then that's what launched my career. I grinded it out. I made videos every single day. I made videos about everything I could think of. I made videos day and night, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. I just grind. I made videos and also made blogs and vlogs, and I posted it, I distributed. I mean, I literally hustled my way to where I'm at right now. So there was not one video that changed everything. It's just a matter of me doing hard work and getting eventually to the point where I'm at, right? Which to me makes a lot of sense, right? So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because from that perspective, maybe you can't become an overnight success influencer like a lot of these crazy people are. Like these people who get paid millions of dollars just to show their face and make goofy looking like facial expressions. But I think that there is something to be said about growing a brand and grinding it out and pushing your content out as much as you can and getting in front of the right people and slowly building your audience, maybe one follower at a time, to the point where you might not become an influencer, but you'll become sort of like a mini influencer. I think they call it mini influencer. I don't know what it is, but a mini influencer in your particular niche or niche, your market, your your sphere, right? Your neighborhood, right? I think there's something to be said about that, right? So from my perspective, uh, of course, I want to be an influencer eventually, if I can, ever before I die, right? It might end up being my son. It might not even be me, right? But I do want to become an influencer eventually. But I am okay with the fact that maybe I'll become uh, at least influential within my market, within my sphere, right? Uh, in a way, that might be more valuable, right? So I think there's something to be said about at least working towards being influential amongst your particular sphere. I used to have on my description want to be influencer. I really and that really describes what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm influencing everybody, right? Whoever I'm around, right? So I really do live and die by that, right? Um, Something that a mentor slash boss slash branch manager said to me once. He said, "You can't beat the rocket on the internet, but you could damn sure beat them in your own backyard." Okay, and that really stuck with me because I understand what he's saying now. It's not about competing against the big boys, right? In the vast world that is called the interwebs and the internet, right? It's about beating the big boys in your particular market or your particular sphere, right? If you can make sure that everyone in your market knows who you are and you're the go-to person instead of like the alternative, which is going to be like the big name influential company, then you're winning, right? So even though I might not beat Rocket Mortgage or whoever in the world, in the universe or the social media or the internet, whatever, if I can make sure that every single person that I touch knows that Larry the mortgage guy is better than Rocket Mortgage, then I win. That's all that matters. And then it gets to the point of how many people can I touch, right? Of course, influencers touch a whole bunch of people, but there's something to be said about the value or the level of communication and relationship to your audience and your followers as a mini influencer or someone who controls their sphere. I call it the sphere of dominance. Okay, but I think there's something to be said about having a influence on your sphere of dominance versus just being an influencer in general and not really having a relationship with the audience. It's almost like a surface level connection, right? So hopefully that answers your question, Jennifer. I think I might have went a little bit deeper than I should have on that one, but hopefully that answers your question. You might not even see this video, but I'll actually share the replay to her so she can be like, okay, because of course I'm gonna do the teaser thing. I'm like, hey, I answered your question. Here's a link if you want to see what the answer is, right? And if they're curious enough, then they'll go and look, right? Where is my search? I refreshed because I was hoping or I was thinking maybe someone might ask more questions. Does anyone have any questions before I go on to the next? I think there's one more at least. Anyone else want to ask a question? You can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. Okay, let's see what this next question is. Oh, Cody Brochard says, why is there not a social media for animals yet? I go, I'll definitely address this one. I think there is, and I'll explain my theory as to why. And he said dogs can't type. Oh, no, Cameron said dogs can't type. Okay, so first of all, not being able to type will not stop you from creating content. Okay, let's put it this way. I think America's funniest videos before social media was even a thing, before internet was even a thing, was driven a lot by animals. Okay, so I think social media for animals does exist, but they're not really the ones engaging. They're the ones creating the content. Okay, so they're content creators. That's from my perspective, and they just happen to have a cameraman, right? And that's what I want. I want a cameraman following me around and just recording all. Because I mean, whenever my kids do something stupid or crazy, I have to bust out my camera and I have to record it. And sometimes I miss part of where I wanted to record. Whereas it'd be really convenient if there was just a robot, maybe a drone camera guy to follow me around. Of course, he wouldn't follow me when I'm, using the restroom, but he'll follow me around whenever I'm at home or I'm walking around or I'm here with my kids, so they can capture every single moment. See, the thing is, my wife, and this is why I have a theory, right? My wife has Ring cameras all over the house, right? So she watches everything. There's a camera over there, there's a camera over here. She sees everything, right? So in a way, she's constantly recording my kids, who are, from my perspective, a bunch of animals. Okay, so she's constantly recording them. Okay, and if she finds something funny, she'll send it to me. Okay, and in a way, that's them be creating content. She has the platform, meaning the Ring cameras, recording whatever's happening in her house, and then she shared it with me, and therefore got content and shared it with an audience member. And even though it's a micro environment, it was a social environment. And actually, I have shared Ring videos where I'm doing something crazy, my kids are doing something crazy on social before. Okay, so even though the animals might not be engaging, they might not be distributing the content, they are definitely creating the content. Okay, and they're just lucky enough to have cameramen like myself doing the distribution for them. Okay, but yeah, like I said, the reason why when Cody said why is there not social media for animals yet, I actually translated to why is there not social media for children yet, because children are like animals, right? They do crazy, stupid stuff that's funny, right? Like my kids make me laugh all the time. So I'm like the content. I'm not even the. I mean, I guess I'm the creator, but I'm really the content collector. They're creating the content, and I collect the content and I distribute it for them, right? So even though it might not be a full-on blown social media for animals, I think social media is driven by animals, and therefore there's a place for them. And I think scientifically they are part of social media. They're just not a part of the engagement and the distribution. Okay, maybe someday they will be. I don't know. Maybe uh, they'll be trained to activate. Like they have a live stream, right? Let's pretend it's kind of like a, what is it called? What's that stupid platform that people talks about? OnlyFans. Yeah, OnlyFans, right? Maybe animals will be trained to use OnlyFans, right? They'll have like an OnlyFans camera right here, and they're like, okay, every single time I press this button, like if I step on this button, because dogs can do that, they step on this button, the camera will turn on and it'll do a live feed, and whoever's watching can see me take a poop over here, right? I think there will be a time where that could happen. Maybe not today, like Cody's pointing out. Why isn't there social media for animals yet? But I think it's still possible that it's something that can happen. A dog can be trained to be like, okay, I'm gonna go poop right now, and I know that I get paid when I get poop. Like a treat comes out every single time I poop, so I'm gonna go ahead and press this button. This camera is gonna record me pooping, right? And my audience member is gonna see it, and because the audience member is seeing it, they're gonna drop treats so I can eat it, right? I think that's possible. So yeah, I mean, why is there not a social media for animals yet? I don't know why, but I just proved that it's possible for it to exist, right? So hopefully that answers your question. Speaking of animals, my dogs are barking. Hold on one second. Right, this side, dude. This side. No, sir. In your cage. In your cage. That's who's barking at the dogs, dude. You know that. Sorry about that. I had to wrangle my dog because I don't like him barking at the neighbor's dogs. So I had to put him in the cage. Sorry about that. All right, so let's see here. Any questions, comments? I'm looking. I think that's the last question that I got on my post. Now, of course, there's been many posts that I put up asking the question, what would you ask me if you had about social media, and I addressed them. But this one was posted today, and that's what I got, right? So what I want to do, because things are kind of going pretty good. My kids aren't destroying the house yet. And usually I try to do an hour on these calls. So I got like maybe 15 more minutes. I want to actually see if I can search an older social media Q&A question and maybe pick my favorite question to answer, and I'll end the call with that, right? But let me see here. Is there any other question I might have missed? Does anybody on the call, like on the Zoom call, have a question while I do this? I think that's it. Yep. And so you know what I'm doing, right? I posted this question. If you could ask me any question about social media, what would it be? I had some people answer, right? What I plan to do is I plan to have a replay on YouTube, and I'm going to send them the link. I'll be like, hey, Alex, I actually answered your question. Here's a link. And hopefully drive them to come to my YouTube, right? Therefore, driving traffic to it, but at the same time, maybe giving Alex a little bit of value, Alex or Cameron or Cody or Jennifer, a little bit of value. Maybe they'll subscribe to my channel. Who knows? And I legitimately answered their question, right? So hopefully I give them value. Now, they might not want to sit through the whole call. Who knows? They might ask me, where is it? And I might tell them, go to, 30 minutes or go to 25 minutes, whatever. But either way, I am answering their questions. Okay. So no more question on that one. So I'm going to put ask me social media. I don't know how I worded the questions, but I might be able to find it. And the way I use Facebook is I actually use it where I always look for particular posts that I made in the past. And I try to remember the verbiage, and then I search for it that way. So sometimes I hashtag for that purpose. I hashtag for the purpose of, oh, look, somebody asked questions here. This is, okay, 2018, right? So I'm going to go ahead and look at this one real quick. Ken asked, when did people stop connecting in person? Okay, I'm going to answer this question. That's a good question, Ken, even though he asked it back in 2018. I'll actually tag Ken and I'll actually tag the video. Again, I'm trying to distribute my content, right? So I'm going to go ahead and tell Ken, hey, I actually asked this question, and I'm going to send him the link, right? But when did people stop connecting in person? As soon as they could, right? When the phone was invented, right? Newspaper, when not email, snail mail. When snail mail was invented, that's when people stopped connecting. Okay, because back then, when I say back then, I'm talking about the Stone Age, right? When there was no way of communicating with each other through long distances, people were forced to visit each other. People were forced to interact with each other. People were forced to live in closer communities. And if you were in a rural area, you were kind of self-sustaining, right? If you were a farmer, you pretty much lived on the farm and you survived off of what you grew from the farm, right? It's when people invented the ability to communicate with each other in far distances and in a timely manner, because sometimes using a phone or maybe having snail mail being sent back and forth was faster than actually getting into your car and driving to talk to the person, right? Because of course you have to drive back, right? That's when people stop connecting. Okay. But what's happening now is it's just getting faster, more efficient, right? I mean, if you really think about it, the foundation is still there. The foundation of snail mail, the foundation of telephones, the foundation of radio, right? It's all still there. It's just being distributed and changed and upgraded and technologically developed in a way where it's almost instant at this point, right? I mean, it literally is instant. Like, I mean, I'm doing this call right now with an audience. You guys are watching. It's being streamed to like 30, 40 different pages and groups. People are watching this call. It's all instant right now. There's no more lag time, right? So that's not, I mean, to answer your question, Ken, people stopped connecting a long time ago. It's just because it's so easy right now, because the instant gratification is there. People are now choosing convenience and saving time above the actual investment of energy and labor and planning and coordinating in order to meet with people in person. Right. So hopefully that answers your question, Ken. And actually, I got interrupted there. I was going to put a post that I created, but I'm going to see if there's any other posts here. Look at I did another question here. See, I do this question a lot. If I did a live Q&A, what question would you ask about social media? So let's look at these ones. I'm going to choose my favorite one from this one. See, I still got 5 minutes. How to stay up with all the constant FB changes and the algorithms. Also, do you plan your content out for the week or come up with crazy content each day? Okay, that's a good question, Brenda. I might address that. What's the technical side of building the robots? Okay, that's a good question, Daniel. I'll address that. Tim asked, what are the groups that you're part of that are great for networking, generating business? That's a good question as well. What's your personal mental whip effect? Whip effect is how to build momentum for your posts so that whenever you post a business post, it gets a lot more views. I'll talk about that. Gladys asked, boss, also, we have a California question. I'm sure you know this one by now. That's funny. Jalen said, what is a Facebook jail like? Okay, good questions. Okay, so I'm going to address them real quickly because I think they deserve all to be answered. How to stay with the constant FB change in the algorithms? It's impossible. Facebook is changing every single day, so you can't keep up. You just got to ride the wave, just like a surfer, right? But that's why you have me. So you have a question. More than likely, I'll be at the cutting edge and I'll be able to answer the question right away. But hopefully, my information is still good by the time you ask it, because it might change and I don't know about it, right? Just like the mortgage business, okay? I do plan out my content each week. Actually, I don't plan my content each week. I have a social media plan of what I plan to do in the mornings, at lunch, dinner. I have a plan for the weekend, and I have almost like a go-to in my mind, depending on the situation. So like today was a holiday, right? So I always post about the fact that I got to deal with the kids during the weekend. That's always there's always some version of that, because I'm trying to create a relatable content, because I know there's other people who are probably dealing with the same thing. Like they are now at home with their kids because of Good Friday holiday. So I want to try to connect with those people. I also have this generic meme that I'm about to post. I've been waiting to post it. I actually should have posted it already, but I'm going to post it during lunch, where it's like Batman slapping Robin, and it's going to be like Robin saying, have a good 4-day weekend, or have a good Friday, whatever, and it's going to be Batman slapping him, saying, we're real estate, you idiot. It's like a post I've recycled 1,000 times using basically the same photo, just different text, was always relating to a holiday and having a day off, and then of course pointing the fact that I'm in real estate. So that's the whole point of the meme. But I'm going to post that up today. Okay, so that's hopefully answers your question, Brenda. What's the thing with side building the robots? That's an impossible question to answer in a 1 hour Q&A. But the answer I'm going to give you is you always subscribe or go to my videos, real estate robot army on YouTube. Also, I give my coaching for free. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll actually enroll you. And I will not only post this video, but I'll also post the links for you. Okay, Daniel. Tim says, what are the groups that you're part of that are great for networking during business? Well, of course, I'm a loan officer, so I join real estate agent groups, right? But I also join sales groups. I join entrepreneur groups because I also provide uh, support in tools that helps entrepreneurs and salespeople in general. So those are the type of groups I join, and I'm asking for a specific group. Maybe I will click a couple links, but hopefully you watch this video as well. What's your personal method of the whip effect? Actually, really easy. I always post a picture of my. Actually, in the morning, I post like a demotivational. I call it because people like to post motivational memes. I like to post demotivational memes because I think it's funny, and I like to use self-deprecating humor to sort of provide value to my audience, right? So, very rarely you'll see me posting an actual motivational meme or inspirational meme. It'll always be the opposite, right? And I do that intentionally, and I hope that it catches fire, right? If it does, great. Now, the reason why um, I post a picture of my children because it's a timing thing. It's something that happens every single day at the same time. But let's say I post a motivational meme or whatever in the morning and it catches fire. Let's say there's like 100 comments or whatever. I will actually halt on posting the picture of my children and post a business post right away, like something about mortgages or something about robots right away, right? I would take advantage of the algorithmic strength and entry that I've created. So it's almost like I'm constantly throwing shit out there. And then when something catches fire, that's when I know, okay, the next post has to be a business post so I can get more eyeballs to it. So that's my personal method of effect. I don't have a regimented style of doing things. I kind of just throw shit out there, hoping it gets engagement. If something does get engagement, then I will recalibrate my post that was supposed to be next, and I'll put a business post, and then I'll follow up with my original post later on if I can. So hopefully that answers your question, Tim. And I'll actually post this video so you can watch this and see this. Gladys bought same thing. You can go to my channel. I can also enroll you to my coaching that I provide for free now for anybody. It doesn't matter. And we also address the California thing later, right? What's Facebook jail like? It's really maddening actually because Facebook is kind of like living life, right? Well, imagine Facebook jail being like you try to go to the restroom and the door is locked, right? Or you go into your car and you try to start the engine and the car won't start. You're out of gas, whatever. Uh, or you're turning on the light and the light doesn't turn on. That's what Facebook jail feels like, right? Not exactly like that physically, but it's the frustration of trying to do something and you can't do it, right? It's a frustration of trying to do something that you normally would do. You actually take for granted. You forget about how valuable it is until it's taken away from you, right? So that's what Facebook jail like mentally. If you want to know what it is physically, well, just pretend that you can't post a post. Like it says you're blocked from making this type of post, or you're not allowed to share for the next 30 days, or you try to comment someone, or you try to tag someone. It says you're no longer allowed to tag people for the next 24 hours. That's what it basically is. You try to do something and notification telling you can't do it, right? Or you try to access something and you can't find it because it's blocked, right? That's what Facebook jail like physically, but mentally, it's like trying to live life and shit being taken away from you, right? So hopefully I answered your question. I still got a few minutes here. Let me see. All right, so that's not really a question that I would use. Okay, so I'm seeing other people post. So this is my method when I try to go to see the post that I made. I go to you post, and it's me telling Facebook I want to see posts that are related to social media Q&A that I asked that it was from my page, right, or from my timeline, right. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's any other posts here. And I'm looking for like the really simple, like it really says, what would you ask if it's social media, or you know, what question you have about social media or whatever. That's what I'm trying to find. What you saw me find earlier, right? And I might not have any more that I can. This is from 1 hour ago in the results. So there it is. So I think I finished everything. But at least you saw the tip of how I find old posts. Now, actually, another way I find old posts is through my hashtags, right? So, like, let's say I want to find luckiest guy in the world. Why is this? Why is this not doing this? Oh man, my keyboard's not working for some reason. It's weird. Sorry, because I have my keyboard here. I think I'm actually just lagging right now because I have two keyboards. I have my laptop keyboard and my actual keyboard. I think I'm just lagging here. Nope. I was going to show you a demonstration of how I can find uh, posts that I actually hashtag on purpose so I can find it later, right? But my technology is not working, so I can't do that. Maybe what I can do is I can go to my old uh, social media posts here. Go to my timeline. While I'm doing this, does anyone have any questions or comments? Anyone from the Zoom, you can always unmute yourself. You can always just put it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to my personal page here, and I'm going to show you like ways that I use my hashtags to sort of group my posts together because I always refer to them, right? So luckiest guy in the world is one of my hashtags that I always make sure I post when it comes to food. But like sometimes in order for me to tell my wife what I want for dinner, because she might ask, what do you want for dinner? I'll just click the hashtag. I'll just look at all the crap that I posted in the past and I can read, basically I'm telling myself what my wife has the ability to cook. Now these are shown to other people, which of course is kind of frustrating because I only want to see mine. And if I could adjust that, I would. See if I can take out the hashtag. This is a trick. You take out the hashtag and it allows you to select your own post, right? So I'm gonna go to post, and I'm gonna go to post from you, and now I only see my post with this hashtag. So I took out the hashtag part. You see, that's a little trick, little hack that I figured out. Okay. Okay, so let's see pictures of my wife. Of course, it's cool, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the food post. So here it is. Maybe I want sliders from the wife. Maybe I want spare ribs, right? Actually, my son's grounding from looking on the steak. Maybe I want steak, right? Sloppy Joe. Actually, Sloppy Joe sounds really good right now. I wish we had some right now. Actually, we might have some leftover. I might want shake and bake, right? Right. So this is my way of making sure that I know exactly what my wife cooks. So I know what she can cook because sometimes they ask me, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, or she asked me, "What do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "Let me think about it." And really, what I'm doing is I'm going to my Facebook and I'm looking at all my old posts to see what she's cooked in the past, and I can be like, "Oh, you know what sounds good? Spam sounds good right now." And I actually might share the post to her. It's like, this actually looks really good, right? So, yeah, it's one of my methods of keeping track of all my posts, right? Of course, I always hashtag her too whenever I put luckiest guy in the world, but in reality, I post this mostly because of the food thing, right? And I actually will go back. Like, I'll go to old posts where I had posted food and it didn't hashtag it, and I'll actually edit it and put the hashtag in there. It's almost like I'm collecting my data. It's like, oh crap, this is a picture of food that I took and I forgot to, and I didn't hashtag it because it's been like 10 years and I didn't have the hashtag back then, right? So yeah, that's a little trick on what I do because social media, in terms of Facebook at least, is like my journal for me. So it's like a record keeper. Like I don't know, I'm not gonna remember what happened March 4th, but by posting my post, I'll have a record of it, so I know let's go back. So I don't even have to remember everything. I just use my Facebook. So to me, Facebook is like my memory cloud, right? And a little trick before I let you guys go is I actually have my own Facebook group that's just for me. Okay, meaning no one else is a part of it. It's called Larry Blank. It's hidden. It's the only person that's in it is only person that's a part of it is my wife. She's an admin because I'm afraid if I lose my account or if I get blocked or whatever, I can always access this later. But I will save shit that I want to remember that I don't have time to download or whatever into this group. Like right now, I'm editing a TikTok video. Okay, so I upload it there so I can watch it because I want to see what it looks like on Facebook. I'm not gonna upload it to my main timeline, so I upload it to here and I can watch it. And I notice that it actually has a copyright match. That's good information for me to know. But like any kind of content or videos that I want to save, like let's say I'm recording on Facebook Live and I don't have time, I don't have a ability to save it on my phone because I don't have enough room. I actually do it on my live. See, I do it live here and it saves it into the Facebook cloud. So therefore, I don't have space in my phone. I don't have space in my camera because I know it's gonna be like a long video. I actually go live on like one of my devices and it saves into Facebook for me. I can always download it later. So it's my way of kind of archiving, saving, storing videos and content that I, for whatever reason, physically can't do at that moment, right? So that's a little trick, little hack. And I've had this group for years and Facebook has done nothing to it. I mean, they didn't delete or anything like that. So I actually have stuff from like 5 years ago that's in there. That's kind of cool to go back to, right? So that's a little tip for you guys, a little takeaway. If you're on this call and you learned everything, you already knew everything I talked about, at least that's a little piece of advice I can give you on what you can do to use Facebook and leverage for your social media and your content, right? So before I'm gonna go, I'm gonna check to make sure there's any questions. Any questions? Does anyone want to share like a takeaway they got from this? Looks like my wife sent me some. I don't want to open that. It might be scary and illegal. But does anyone have any takeaways they want to share before I let you guys go? All right, cool. So please remember that next week, which is the not 19th, the 22nd, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in Atlanta for the Veteran Mortgage Advisor Conference. So I'll be canceling next week's call. I won't be scheduling any calls on Facebook, and I'll be deleting them from Zoom. But of course, if you have any questions, always reach out to me. I will be available. I just will be hanging out with my, fellow veteran mortgage advisor nerd friends, right? So you have any questions, whatever. If you saw something you like, if you have questions that you want me to answer later on, I can always do that. Looks like my son's about to be starting to have a meltdown, so I have to get with him pretty soon. But yeah, just reach out to me if you have any questions, all right? I really appreciate it. This is Larry, the Robot Maker, Robot General. I'm out.